Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Living Podcast. As you know, I'm the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Rochel Marie Lawson, and it is a pleasure to be with you today. I have an amazing guest that's going to share some words of wisdom about freedom, and I'm just putting that in as a little tickler for you all. But as you know, because my guests come on the show and they share nuggets of gold that you're going to want to capture. I highly suggest that you right now, I always say this every show. So if you've been listening to me for a while, you already know you should be grabbing your place to sit, something to write with, pen and paper, pens on paper, get your favorite beverage. Tell your family to give you a few moments so that you can absorb this information because she's going to drop some nuggets of gold again about freedom. And particularly, I'm just reaching this out. This is for us ladies, men too. This is specifically for us ladies because we need to be financially responsible, and having that freedom is important. So that's just a little tickler. So while you're getting that together, let me take care of some business. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. They have some amazing things to help you step into really owning, commanding, and loving and nourishing your wellness, wisdom, and wealth. In addition, they have some events coming up that if you're bold, brave, or unstoppable woman or man, you need to be at these events. You need to be in the house because there's going to be some transformation that occurs. And I guarantee you that you will not be the same person when you leave the event as you were when you walked in to the Brave, Bold, and Unstoppable Women Summit. So you want to check out Blissful Living for You, go to their events and check out the locations. I can just spill it to you right now. They're going to be happening in the Washington, D.C. area in August, in Atlanta, Georgia in October, and in the lovely, my golden state home, San Francisco in November. So just tickling you and teasing you to go to the website, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Check out events and then check out the wonderful things that they have for you for wellness, wisdom, and wealth. The other sponsor I want to thank is All Day Cable Incorporated, telecommunication, a premier telecommunications installation company that has been around since 1989. They specialize in network distribution, voice, data, fiber optic cabling, as well as wireless systems, routers, modems, audio, video speakers, whatever you need so that your telecommunications allows you to make the right connection the first time on the other end with your customer or those that you are meant to serve. If you have some delays or mishaps in your telecommunications nowadays, you can't talk to that customer, you can't access that computer. So you want your stuff working right, and you want it to work right when you make that connection the first time. And All Day Cable, they cater to small, mid-sized, and very large corporations. And they have had customers that have been with them since the inception of the business, and that speaks volumes. So if you're looking for a premier telecommunications installation company for your network distribution or just your ads, moves, and changes, you want to check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so I took care of some business, and now I'm going to bring it to you. Because let me tell you about the guest that I've got for us today. So her name is Whitney Elkins-Hutten, and she is the Director of Investor Education at PassiveInvesting.com, co-author of the international #1 bestseller, Resilient Women in Life and Business, host of the Passive Investing Made Simple and Multifamily Investor Nation, YouTube shows and podcasts, and a partner in an 800, I'm going to say multi-million plus in real estate, including over 6,500 plus residential units. And that goes from just the gamut. 7 express car washes, and more than 2,200 plus self-storage units across 11 states, and experience in flipping over 5 million in residential real estate. Now, did I say I bring powerhouses to the table, and particularly for us women when it comes to our wealth? This is a component that most women lack, and they are dependent upon their spouses, males, to do this so that they're investing in, when it comes to retirement or whatever, it's all set up. Unfortunately, that's not reality. It doesn't happen. Women, you need to stand strong, take care of your own wealth pillar so that you're never, ever dependent upon anybody else. And Whitney is going to share with us today the 5 freedoms in life and how passive investing helps us to attain them. So Whitney, welcome to the show. You are going to be talking about one of my favorite things, which is wealth and creating wealth for ourselves, as well as wealth for our future legacies and generations beyond us. So welcome.
Well, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you. And so because I think this is a really powerhouse pillar of what we need to discuss, I really just want to jump in and ask you, because I did the tickler with the freedom part, right? I really want to ask you, and those you guys watching, hopefully you got your pen and paper and you're going to take notes, because Whitney finna drop some nuggets of gold on us that we can use immediately in our lives to help build our wealth pillar. So Whitney, what are the 5 freedoms?
Well, okay, so to start off, 5 freedoms that most people in life are searching for are financial freedom, time freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of location, independence, and freedom to create an impact. Now, most of us don't go walking around going, oh, okay, let me figure out which one of these 5 freedoms I want. It's more tangible than that, right? It's you're working a day-to-day job. You're in a cubicle, you're doing whatever. And you're just like, man, I want to pay the bills. I want to go on vacation. I want to have a little bit of extra money to, buy, something nice for myself, or to start saving and to, build your investment portfolio. Your mind doesn't automatically go, yeah, I want to have freedom to make an impact in the world. But that initial freedom that you're looking for, that initial thought of like, what do I want, is usually tied to a pain. You're trying to not work all the time. You're trying to, get out from underneath debt. You're trying to build a better life for yourself. But it's when you start digging deeper, going through all those different layers of why you want to do what it is you want to do, especially to build financial freedom, which is what we're here to talk about today. I guarantee you, all my clients, when I get to the end freedoms they're trying to look for, it's one of those 5 freedoms. So that is, that is kind of like the North Star. So we have to, us as human beings, we're more motivated by pain than we are the pleasure of trying to step into and seek out that freedom, right? And that's why I love what you're doing here, is that you're really trying to encourage women, men too, to live that blissful life, which means living in alignment with one of those freedoms. But you have to understand, you do have to address the day-to-day pain and get out of that before you can start living blissfully, as you put it.
I love it. I like how you shared the 5 freedoms. And I think it is important when you said, when you're working with your clients and, you ask them, about the freedoms, you have to kind of dig down deep, because everybody, I want to have free time, or I want to have, whatever. But it's like when you get to digging deep and get to, well, why do you want that? A lot of times I bet you discover that, or that what they discover is what they thought they wanted. And the reason why they thought they wanted it was actually something completely different. And the reason why it's different, because it's sometimes hidden. We don't always understand it. It's like the bright, shiny stuff you see, and you think that's why you want something, but really deep down inside, it's something completely different that is the motivating factor for you to seek out whatever the freedom is you desire. When it comes to financial freedom, do they just get fixated on one particular freedom, or is there multiple freedoms that they kind of like? It's like making a cake. I love butter in my pound cake, but I also like to put a little rum in there and a little vanilla. You know what I mean? Because that makes a well-grounded pound cake. what do you see, or what do you experience when it comes to your clients or people you talk to when it comes to really digging down to the freedoms that they desire?
Yeah, so I think the number one mistake that people make is that they take their desire to escape whatever pain it is at face value.
Mhm.
And that they so kind of flipping on the head what you just said, Rochelle. They're just like, oh, I want to like have all my bills paid off. I want to like have a nicer house or nicer car. They take that at face value and they don't actually connect it to the deeper why, which is the freedom that they're trying to go after. And the reason why that is so important that you have to dig deeper and connect the why is especially in real estate. Like for me, I work with, busy people that are wanting to invest in real estate, build up, assets in their portfolio actively, through my company at Ash Wealth, or passively through my connections with passiveinvesting.com, so they can have financial freedom. But that is one, there's usually other freedoms connected to that. But you have to understand, a lot of people, when I start working with them, they start building their portfolios the way they see everybody else in their network building them. And what do I mean by that? They might go, oh, I want to have like build up my net worth incredibly fast. So I see people flipping homes and making 10, 15, 30, $40,000 on every flip. But if they just stayed at that surface level and they said, okay, I need to have more money coming in, I need to build up my net worth, but they didn't dig deep to find out that their actual true why they want that is so they can get their time freedom back, they're going to build a flipping portfolio. They're going to build a business that's extremely time intensive. For anybody who's ever flipped in real estate, it's an active business. You got yourself another job. And if what you really want in life is the time back to spend with your kids, the time to travel, the time to connect with yourself, then you're
We're having a
unaligned.
little bit. Repeat that, Whitney. We had a little bit of technical glitch, and you dipped out on us. And so, can you repeat what you said? What they really want was all the last thing we heard.
Yeah, what they really want is, if they really want is time back with their kids, time to travel, time to connect with themselves, but they've built yet another active business like flipping on top of their W-2 job that has them, working 48, 50, 60 hours a week and traveling. Like now they're disconnected, right? They're disconnected from their why. And what do people usually do at that point in time? They throw their hands up in the air and they're like, this doesn't work, right? Whereas if we can connect what it is that they're truly wanting. Okay, so they have this pain they're running from, but there's an underlying desire that they're running towards. And then we can get rid of all those shiny objects out there, right? We now have a filter system. So we know what financial investments will work for them. We know what, specifically, I focus on real estate. I now know for that particular investor, you don't go flipping houses. You don't need to be looking at houses on the weekend. We're going to build you the team, or we're going to help you to invest with operators that can help you do this passively to build your portfolio. So but that happens. It doesn't it's not just completely isolated to investing or achieving financial freedom, but I think understanding how to connect pain to a true desire is that if somebody figure out how to do that in their life, they're going to shut out all the things that they shouldn't be doing and be launching themselves down that path towards that freedom or whatever it is they're trying to truly achieve so much faster.
I like what you're sharing. And I know you mentioned the passive investing part. I want to dip into that a little bit because I think that's important. So can you share with the viewers and the listeners with regards to passive investing, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah. So there's people, when they get into real estate, investors, they get enamored by the income. They're like, the IRS considers income generated through buy and hold real estate as passive, meaning it's taxed differently. Okay. You can use, all these depreciation and write-offs to keep that income largely tax-free. Now, the problem is there is passive with the income, but there's also passive with the time. So this is where I see investors get really disconnected. They're like, oh, I'm going to go start buying single family homes, or I'm going to start flipping. And then all of a sudden they build up a portfolio of 10, 15, 20 properties. And they're like, oh, I have another job. This is like tiring. And I already have all this work that I'm doing. And I have my family I want to take care of. I'm unaligned for my goals. There is another option to invest in real estate where you are investing in somebody else's business, an experienced operator, say like in multifamily or self-storage or car washes. Those are our three main verticals, equity verticals. But those are, that operator brings the time, the knowledge, the expertise of that investment strategy. They bring the whole network, all the brokers, the lenders, everybody that you would need to put together a real estate deal. They can bring together other investor capital to invest in these higher quality assets that actually are more stable than investing in a single family house or a 1 to 50 unit apartment building if you did it yourself. But more importantly, they bring their time, because if you're investing with an experienced operator, okay, who has the knowledge, the track record, the background experience, all these other things to put in place, that now you can tap into the ability to create cash flow and financial freedom through passive investing in, say, like a syndication or in somebody else's business. And you get to take advantage of their time that they're putting into this. And guess what? You get back a return, but you also get back your time to go. Maybe you double down on your job. Maybe that is the higher and best use of your time to, build your own business or scale your own corporation. Or maybe, for me, like it was like being a mom, right? Like I was like, I have more time to be a mom and take care of my family, take care of myself, take care of my own investing by investing in somebody else's business.
I love that you just don't invest in residential property, right? I love that you are doing car washes and self-storage companies. Now, I would have never thought that there were opportunities. For me, myself, when I'm old school, I'm thinking a car wash. Yeah, go take my car there. Johnny's dad has owned this car wash forever. I've been going there for 25 years, thinking it's just a sole entity, right? And it's thinking generally they're family oriented or family operated, something like that. And then you see these other ones that seem to be pretty streamlined, not the ones connected to the gas station, but they seem to be pretty streamlined. Never in my wildest mind, and I think I'm pretty smart and savvy, never in my wildest mind had I ever heard about investing in car washes or self-storage. How many people go to self-storage? Is that, what? Whoever created that ideal was a genius, because, before the day of self-storage, you'd stuff all that stuff in your garage, and then you can't park your cars in the garage anymore, right? I mean, how many of us grew up with houses that our garages were packed, right? Because that was our self-storage, right? Me too. Along with my dad's mechanic tools all around, right? But self-storage is huge. You take the stuff that you really should be getting rid of, right? And you put it in a self-storage, and now you're paying a monthly. It usually starts out low, and then over the years it goes up gradually. But whoever would have thought you can invest in self-storage companies as a way of generating passive income and, setting that up for your wealth pot. I mean, that is amazing. Now, you have also, talked about flipping, and I know that's a big, that's in everybody's mind. We see it on HGTV, all the various shows that they have, all pretty much are the same. They buy a property, they fix the property up, they flip it. It's pretty synchronistic. But what they don't show is the work that goes into that, finding those properties. And you said that you got people that come and they want to be flippers, and then they realize they've taken on another job and they've given up their freedom that they were trying to actually find. If someone is watching us and they're looking into how can I create a passive income vehicle for me where I'm either involved or investing or in a company that is already doing the flipping and I'm just going to get my benefits, or investing in these self-storage companies or car washes. What are some of the first steps that a person needs to have to be prepared to even look at that type of passive income being generated for them?
Mhm. Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, actually. There's a few different questions buried in there. And so, for somebody who's like, oh, don't flip, like, I want to flip, but how do I do that passively? We actually, when we buy our multifamily apartments, we go in with the strategy to create what we call add value. How can we take that current building, either increase the income, decrease the expenses on the building, or add additional streams of income, and ideally all three. Well, we can pull those levers, and that's essentially what a flipper does. They're trying to see the potential value, future value of a property. So we essentially are kind of flipping an apartment building, but we're also, that building is stable today, and we can hold it for long term. So we have multiple exit strategies. So I think, for somebody who's just like a flipper, or very attracted to that, large equity bumps in their investments, don't shuck off like passive investing, because you could definitely, double your equity in like, 3, 4, 5 years easily, through a syndicated investment. Now, what are the first steps to get into one? Well, the first step really is understanding your goals. So you need to understand, do you need cash flow? Do you need equity? Do you need tax benefits? Do you need diversification? And sometimes this is a journey, right? It's not perfect. You might, it takes a while for people to kind of uncover this, but the clearer you can get on your actual goals, that is going to, again, help narrow down those operators you should be seeking out. So understanding your goals, understanding your risk tolerance. So many times I talk to passive investors and they're like, I want to triple my equity in like 3 years, but I want to have zero risk to it. And I'm like, that doesn't line up. I would love that too. If you find it, let me know. Right. So we have to, help people understand the risk tolerance. Are you, somebody who's younger, who has a bit of time to, wait out a longer investment timeline or take on some larger risk in that particular investment, in order to potentially get a higher payoff? Or are you nearing retirement? You just need stabilized cash flow and to not lose capital. Either way, and this is why I really love real estate, because, real estate, especially like buy and hold real estate, you can essentially get pretty decent cash flow as well as nice equity bumps and great tax benefits all rolled up together. It's a pretty, the highs aren't super high, but the lows aren't super low, right? Like we're just kind of riding in the middle, right? And so, and really it's that kind of continual riding the middle going up and to the right, which I know I'm more like backwards on the video, or portfolio climbing up and to the right. That is what we're seeking. Okay. It's not the swinging for the fences. So how do people get rich over time? They consistently and persistently build cash flow, build equity, lower the taxes that they pay so they can create velocity with their money and they don't lose. So they're not swinging for the fences.
I love that. That was an amazing amount of information. Building cash flow, building equity. You not losing anything on your investment and growing. I want to tap into this because I know there's some people that are in the retirement age or getting close to that or whatever, and they have equity. They may own 2 properties. I'm going to just keep it simple. They may own their main house that they reside in and then another property. For those that are, I want to say in their 50s or, later, with regards to having that second property, what is a great strategy for them as they move forward with regards to totally maximizing that additional asset that they have to build even more passive income as they go into, as they say, cruising down the highway 1 in California, looking at the beach on the left or the right and just having a really good time. What would you say to those people?
Well,
Or to those of us listening that might be approaching that age or in that age range?
yeah. It's so diversification really can help, smooth the ride in any portfolio. So if you just have one or two assets in your portfolio, what happens? This is the question I always ask investors all the time. I'm like, and one of the reasons why I moved away, from single family real estate as a core part of my portfolio. I still have it, but I hold it for a different reason now. But you're either 100% occupied or you're paying bills. So if that second property is a rental, it's not 100% occupied or vacant. No, you're either getting the bills paid or you're paying all the bills on the property. And so how can you smooth that ride for yourself? The other thing is with, second homes or just a rental property, especially in today's market, we've seen asset price run-ups in the past 18 months that have just been historically not characteristic. My guess is that the equity in that property would probably be underperforming. Meaning, even if you had that property rented out, let's just pretend that property was here in my home state of Colorado. Your cash on cash, even if it was rented out, is probably less than 4%, even if you have a loan on the property. And so you have this lending risk on the property. You're making less than 4%. Now you might be making large chunks of equity, but you can't cash flow equity. The only way you can cash flow equity is when you lock it in at a trade or a sale, and then step up like your cash on cash return on that particular equity. So then how could you then reposition that property if your goals are cash flow, in order to kind of ride the ride, right? Like you said, how can you lock in that equity growth either through a sale or like an exchange, a 1031 exchange or something like that, and then get it performing better for you? How can you bump up that cash flow to like 7%, 8%? Now, if you're cash flowing a single family home at 4%, I guarantee it's not 4%. Are you setting aside your CapEx reserves, your capital expenditure reserves? Like, are you prepared to pay for the roof, the water heater, the furnace, or whatever that is? Are you setting aside and calculating in your maintenance? Are you setting aside your vacancy expenses? Because I guarantee it's going to be vacant at some point in time. And that's where we're transitioning into passive real estate can be very powerful, because that operator is building in all those reserves. They're the professional running the business. They're not doing this part-time on the side. They're doing this full-time to build wealth for their investors. And quite honestly, for themselves. It's a win-win synergy.
Right. You mentioned something. Oh, we're getting close. Got a few minutes, but you mentioned something that I think we all watching, listening to you and I have this beautiful conversation about wealth, passively building our wealth pillar. 1031 exchanges. Can you just share what that is for people that may not even know what that is, in the benefits of that 1031 exchange?
Yeah. So the 1031 exchange, is a product. I think it was like originally in 1921, the IRS said, hey, you can sell a business, because the government doesn't want to solve business problems. They don't want to solve real estate or housing problems. So they said, okay, Mr. Investor, you're willing to do this. You're willing to open up businesses. You're willing to buy real estate and solve housing problems. In exchange for that, as long as you keep your capital invested either in your business or your real estate, we can continue to be buddies here, and we'll continue to allow you to kick your tax can down the road until such time you decide, I'm no longer going to invest in my business or real estate. Now, in 1921, you could go back and forth between either. You could exchange a business for a piece of real estate for a business. And then all of a sudden the IRS was like, whoa, time out. That's not good. We want to keep business and business and real estate and real estate. So they changed that, and then they put in the 1031 like-kind exchange in 1924. And so essentially And there's a couple different ways to look at this, but if you buy a piece of real estate to produce income, like a buy and hold rental, you can then, and you say you hold it, for at least 1 year, but let's say you held it for 5 years, your loan significantly paid down on it, the property is appreciated. Instead of selling it and taking the gain and then paying taxes on that gain, and then also paying depreciation recapture, which is a whole other bug. Maybe we can get into that. The IRS says, okay, Mr. Investor, as long as you go buy a property or multiple properties of equal or greater value, you can keep. You don't have to pay any taxes on that gain, nor do you have to pay us any depreciation recapture, as long as you keep that money invested. And so that's really the beautiful partnership here between real estate investors and the IRS. And the cool thing is, as a passive investor, you still get to tap into that 1031 exchange, because the operator can help navigate that for you when they sell a multifamily building or a self-storage building.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for sharing that, because I know some people are like, what is it? She mentioned that 1031 exchange. One more question I want to ask you with regards to 1031 exchange. I know there's an age where it becomes even more advantageous, and I'm not sure what that age is. I'm going to say it's probably, people that are in that quote unquote golden year, such which, 60 is the new 30, right? But where it becomes even more advantageous to have that 1031 exchange. Can you just highlight or share a little bit of a nugget of gold about that age range, and for those of us that might be in that age range, how we can actually utilize that to our actual benefit to build more passive income and wealth for us for that wealth pillar?
Yeah. So, I'm unaware of a specific age range, but let's pretend that you bought a property in your 20s, income producing property. You continue to exchange it throughout the years. By the time you get into your 60s, you're going to have what we call a really low basis in that property. So if you decided to exit after multiple exchanges or even one exchange, and you decided to exit, that's going to be a pretty hefty tax bill. But you have a family now. And you want to be able to not only cash flow more for yourself, but also lock in that tax gain, pass on those assets to your heirs, and not pass on the tax bill. So how do you do that? Well, you can exchange into, again, more property if you are the type of person that has the time and knowledge to manage it yourself, or you can actually trade into a passive syndication. We work with passive investors that we can help them set up a legal structure that will allow them to 1031 into a passive syndication. And that works for our multifamily buildings and our self-storage buildings. People reach out to me individually and see if this is a good fit. But the cool thing about that is that now you've taken your equity, you've moved it into a better asset that's getting better cash flow, still growing. You're still getting tax benefits from it, but I'm writing a book with bigger pockets on multi-generational wealth, but we have to talk about the dying part. When you die, as long as you die with the assets in place under your name or your entity names, you haven't given them to your kids, the IRS, I think it's below $10 million in assets, will allow you to lock in that step up in basis and give those assets. They transfer to your kids tax free.
Oh, wow.
So that, and essentially you're locking in the step up in basis. Okay. So, and then, so like if I died and say like I had a house that was worth like $3 million, but my basis in it is zero, it's paid off. Let's just pretend. I sold that, and then I would be paying all of the gains, the capital gains on $3 million, and plus the depreciation recapture, which is probably run out by this time. That's a lot of money. I mean, I'm paying 40% on $3 million. My daughter didn't get that. But if I die with the house in place, now the step up at the house now steps up to a $3 million value. It goes to my daughter. She has a new basis. Her baseline is that $3 million value. She can do whatever she wants. She could then take the house and sell it for $3 million. And guess what?
Get out. $3 million. Man. Wow. And that, my friends, we'll end our show with Whitney in our conversation. It's Whitney. I mean, you shared so many nuggets of gold, information I didn't know about. And I'm sure the viewers and listeners that will see this and hear this, they didn't know about, and opened up a whole world of opportunity for us to explore passive investing as we build our wealth pillar. So anybody listening or watching us, how can they get more in contact with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can reach out to me at passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. There, I have a short little form that you can fill out, and you also get access to my calendar, and we can talk all things passive real estate. Now, if you are a private investor, somebody who's just like getting into single family homes and, trying to start your portfolio, you can reach out to me at ashwealth.com.
Thank you. And Whitney's information, you all, will be in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about anything if you didn't catch that. But passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com, right? And then what was the other one again, Whitney?
Oh, Ash Wealth, ASH Wealth.com.
Yeah, Ash Wealth, not Ass Wealth.
No, it's not her initials.
Wealth.com, just because people are like, did they say ash or ass? No, ash, like ash from
an ash tree.
Ash tree, or ash in the fireplace, or cigarette ash, or whatever. Of course I had to put that in there. I just couldn't release my show, and I could do whatever I want to do. But thank you, Whitney, so much. It's been very, very informative, and just filled with a wealth of information. So if you are interested, want to know more, please reach out to Whitney. Again, the information will be in the show notes. And you guys, if you love the show, you love the information that's coming across, the nuggets of gold that the guests are sharing, then please, please, please subscribe to the show and share this show with everyone you know, you love, and care about, because the more information we can get to help us create solid foundations when it comes, particularly our wealth pillar, the better it is, not only for us moving forward as we age, but also for our future generations that we're trying to set up so they don't have to work and struggle as hard as some of us have had to do. I think that's important. The rich people do this. The very, very wealthy people do this, and they have been doing it a long time, and that's why they're able to keep the wealth in their family and continually grow that wealth exponentially. It's out there now for us regular folks like you and I. So please, please, please share this show. Reach out to Whitney, and again, let us know your thoughts about the shows. We appreciate any comments or anything that we get when it comes to the guest on the show. Now, as we close out, I'm thanking Whitney because she's fabulous. And I'm thanking all of you for watching, listening, and sharing the show, our live viewers that we have today, and our thumbs up. We got some thumbs up. I love that, because that means we're on point. I must have been that pound cake analogy that I gave. So now people are going to visualize they're investing in properties like a big pound cake, whatever floats your boat, because I love pound cake. Well, I love desserts, but pound cakes are really good. And I want to thank all of you. As you know, I always like to close out the show and thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, 4, Again, check them out, please. If you're interested and want to know more about what they're doing, you have to go to the site to check them out. I guarantee you there's something for your wellness, there's something for your wisdom, and there's definitely stuff for your wealth. Those pillars are very important and give you the solid foundation to be able to have the freedom to choose what you want to do when it comes to investing your money and doing things in your life that you love, that bring you joy, peace, happiness, and all those yummy, yummy emotional things. Also, check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaykcableinc.com. And until next time, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Rochel Marie Lawson, is wishing you peace to your mind, wellness to your body, and tranquility to your spirit. May you go forth in this beautiful, beautiful day and think wealth. And when you think wealth, think about how you can build passive income and really build and accelerate your wealth pillar. Until next time, everybody, goodbye for now.